I am Kesten Rono. I'm excited to be here, and hopefully you are too. Day 15 of A Course in Miracles. If you were here yesterday, it was horrific, right? I had at least one person, I had one person share with me that it's a heavy process, yet beautiful. This opportunity to feel through our feelings, our upsets, our horrors, even the horrors of our imagination, and to settle with them and introduce them to some idea of love through this process of meaninglessness. That by design, we've tricked ourselves into bringing these into existence. And this is not the meaning that God, in his infinite purview, would design. And so there's some solace in borrowing that thought and even just thinking logically that if you could know everything, and you had all time and all space, couldn't you imagine that at least eventually you would want to create existence with some true meaning? Perhaps you would even provide for all opportunities of experience, including for the inhabitants, us, created somehow with some version of consciousness, some ability to unwind our minds. Wouldn't you dream of creating it where they could dream of anything too? And if we can dream ourselves into sickness, perhaps we can dream ourselves into health. Will you allow that to not be too complicated? Remember, we're here to practice with specificity, but we learned in lesson 1 that no miracle is harder or bigger than another, that these lessons should be done with ease, and that somehow with ease we'll be able to apply these things to all things. Apply these things to all things. We'd call it magical, except we know that magic is one step down from miracles. That we are not here just for some kind of spectacle, some great revealing. We are here for the revealing, whatever that is. So let's just start with an easy meditation. Perhaps you went through the ringer yesterday too. It's a gift to feel all parts of us. It's a trick to believe that we only need to feel happiness, because I believe that as we start to invite all feeling in, well, somehow it becomes known. And miracles are beginnings and endings. And perhaps what I'm saying feels illogical and will be corrected in this book, but there's some kind of paradox, right? Our thoughts are busy with ideas of the past. We are married to our ego. Our ego believes it is in combat with God, but perhaps God laid the field for our opportunity to believe anything we want. In unconditional love, we would even be able to abandon love. But how can you abandon love if you're made of love? You're alive, right? And if miracles are life, and God is the giver of life, and miracles come from love, and they are expressions of love, and all love is expressed maximally, then how could any version of what you are living be out of alignment with love? I was reflecting, I believe yesterday I said that the path of pain or fear and love are divergent. Possibly, I suppose that's just one way of looking at it. But here we are learning to relax how we've been looking at anything at all. And I'd like to invite us to consider that we're on one path the whole time. We are on one direction towards freedom from worry, to perfect peace, perfect safety. Wouldn't that be heaven? What about the idea of heaven on earth? Perhaps you've heard that idea before. What if, what if we are here to discover love before we return back to love in our physical death? And we're given an opportunity, having chosen maybe even to abandon it, that we could be so powerful that we could rediscover love in this lifetime through our upsets by entering into some realm where we constantly need energy, where everything needs energy to survive. And all energy is recycled through wondrous processes that we can eat things that eat things that eat things that eat things. And we can be in so play with these plants. They give off infrared light, full spectrum light that is healing for us. And we can care for them when we're well. We give off carbon dioxide as an off gas, which gives them life, and they give off oxygen, which gives us life. We consume life, ideally through regenerative or wild game practices, pasture raised, true pasture raised ideas. We are the shepherds to help nurture and promote the natural health of things, this natural flow of miracles and love. And when we offer that service, our guidance, our protection, we are offered back more life, more love. You're seeing my version of cell walls, cells turning over every year, we believe. So that means we're constantly evolving. We've entered into this ecosystem that requires us to participate in the change of energy. Our hormones and the water around us and the resemblance of our water with the mineral content of the ocean and how much water we are versus how much water is in this world. This wonderful game of fractals, if you want to see it that way. We're allowed to be busy. We are allowed to be anything we want. And it's not as if we are busy, we are worse off. It's just that in our busy mindedness, part of the natural ebb and flow of particular incentives here, especially the one of ego, we can get a little caught up in things and not realize that even if it's just a small way, even if we believe we are at peace, perhaps there's something we're still afraid of, something we don't want to address. I ask you this: if you have a partner or someone very close to you that you would like to impress, that's a natural thing. I have that. Would you dare tell them everything? Let's assume that they're very open to the ideas that we're discussing right here, and they don't need to feel charged by what you say. Would you dare release everything? If they asked you a question, could you answer it in a whole truth? I think that we have all manners of Well, people we're supposed to call leaders, who are people too, and they suffer from the same idea of shame. But because they are central figures in limelight, they feel a heavier presence, hopefully to do the right thing, but at least of judgment. And everyone who is in combat with them, like our egos believe they're in combat with God, they may seize on an opportunity to highlight more pain. And this may prevent us from revealing ourselves, even to ourselves. Oh, it doesn't exist. It's okay. No one will figure it out. If energy can be neither created nor destroyed, how do you imagine you will hide something forever? And if all stress is cumulative into one bucket, do we really believe? Do we really believe that just because people have five senses and we keep some information from them, that we are not emitting our true selves, that we're not on some arc towards death in at least a bodily sense? Where do we go when we die? Have you put a pet to sleep or see a loved one pass? What is it about that idea that what we call death seems to be separating whatever it is that we were in love with from the body that we see in front of us? We innately understand that process, and if you've witnessed it, you may even feel it. It's confusing, possibly confusing. And yet, when we look around, we believe out of love or out of hate or just rapid judgment because we are busy that the people we see, the animals we see, that they are those things. When I see my dog here, yeah, she's a dog, but sometimes I see her as whatever she is, that we are sharing something. It's awesome. If you're missing love, get a dog. Let the process start unfolding. If I see my friends' children, I would do anything, I imagine, to see them laugh and support their explorations and creativity, be curious about their struggles and their feelings, give them a chance to share their minds. And yet, even in the case of the innocent youth, I should know from seeing things past that there is something behind their eyes that is truly them. That's what we are in love with. But we're here to take care of all this physical and breathe life into it. And so we should breathe life into ourselves. We are a spirit and a body. And recently we've had a note about miracles touching that higher and more physical realm. Where am I going with this? Let's just pause and say it's all okay. There's some great mystery, and perhaps you have it all figured out. I don't. But there's a hint everywhere we look that there's more than just what we see around us happening. I won't claim to know what happens after death, but I would imagine that our existence continues, and how we see what we see changes. I'll offer a secret. My grandmother passed away recently. I couldn't be in town when she did. But my sister called me, and I was lucky enough to have a conversation with her. Thank you to my sister. My grandma couldn't really speak. She was weak. But an outpouring of love and activity, which she loves, attention from friends and family came forth, and she held on to what we call life so that this experience could happen, so we could all have a little healing, say goodbye. Thank you, grandmother. The matriarch, abuelita. And I told her a story which I'll keep between us. But when I finished, she said, "Is Carl okay?" And that's me, by the way. She was going through her checklist and making sure it's okay to sign off. My sister said, "Yes, he's okay." And I told her I'm well and she may relax. She passed that day. And the next day I was walking a dog and I went to the coast. And right when I got to the water, clear as day, my grandmother surprised me. It's like she was sitting Indian style, which she could not do with her hips, over the whole horizon. And I laughed out loud with tears, where before I was just walking a dog. And I said, "Grandma, you can't sneak up on me like that." And what she said was, "It's all okay." In the physical, even in her infinite wisdom, she was asking, "Am I okay?" And the very next day, she was informing me from her new purview, even though her body is still here. Isn't that the grandma I loved? Of course it is. But from her new conscious purview, where existence seems to persist, perhaps in perfect peace and perfect safety. We imagine way up high where you can see so much. And indeed, she was in the sky for me. Her very next words were, "It's all okay." Who would dare deny the life experience of their own grandmother in their sweetness? Hopefully, you've experienced some sweetness of this kind, and if not, maybe you can feel mine. She is wonderful. My grandmother says while we're in the physical, we have questions like, is this going to be okay? And removed, even with the idea of the past, from the walls that are created by us believing we are separate from each other. She, with rejoice, told me it's all okay. What a gift from the afterlife that I've heard recently. And now I tell you this, take it for what you will. But if that's where we're headed, wouldn't it be beautiful to discover it on the way? To wake up even a little bit in the direction of perfect peace, perfect safety, discovering love, believing it is expressed maximally even when it looks like it is not. Believing that even though everything around us looks like it has been, that it is not. That what we might be experiencing is our accidental competition with God. I don't know if you go to church and this is not religious at all. I wouldn't believe that God and unconditional love would require such a thing. I believe you could find love in anyone. I think you can find reflections of forgiveness anywhere. Something mystical, something miraculous. Hmm. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have freedom from worry, to accept an idea that we've changed our minds many, many times? I don't think how I did when I was in high school. Maybe you're in high school. Maybe you'll think differently starting now, or at least recognize that it's a normal process. We're changing all the time. That is something natural. It's involuntary even. And then if we hold on to ideas of the past, we're missing the beauty of the present. And we're becoming attached to something that is not now, that is not is. What a foolish thing, possibly. It sounds so smart to say, well, this is how it's gone, and this helps me plan for the future. And I guess that is true. I mean, it's true in infinite ways that I can think of right now. If I don't brush my teeth, I'll get a cavity. If I don't let my dog out, eventually, won't she pee in the house? If I'm not honest, won't I suffer the repercussions, even if no one notices? So there is some kind of beauty about becoming, and we know that miracles must flow from a place of abundance to an area of lack, and that this represents some beginning and some end. So there is some arc, and even this book talks about the past, the present, the future. In the present, we are releasing the past, which is exposing the future. And the future is where the unknown is. The past is where all the safety is, right? Wrong. Maybe. But we have heard of this idea of ego, and perhaps it needs to go. That it is clinging on to the past, confusing the idea that we can learn with the idea that it must control, that our learnings are creating some guaranteed outcome. We know that's not true. So perhaps our learnings are simply inviting us to the idea that we continually learn, that we may love to learn and learn to love. There's a lot more freedom, I believe, in that. Because if I made the same bet every time, I would bet that eventually I will lose it all. That almost sounds more certain than believing that it will always go one way. That sounds like the ego talking. I believe that the ego is within us. Of course, it's part of us. It must be part of this dance. It's what provides us grounding, like gravity. Gravity definitely exists. But there was times where we believed that the sun revolved around the earth. That was de facto true, right? Maybe not. That's not what we believe today. But we were so sure. We were so sure that even a concept greater than us would be that way. What would happen if that wasn't true for gravity? Because it's so true. I mean, it is true. I'm sitting. I'm slouching even. It's pulling me down if I can't keep myself upright. But if I can balance perfectly, I can defy it with ease. Interesting. There are black swans everywhere. And sometimes we think, that's neat. But other times we think, wait, if that's true, that what I thought or was told isn't true all the time, and even if people keep telling me that nope, that's the way it is, because they haven't noticed the same black swan or accepted it the same way. But for whatever reason, it's been highlighted for us extra, for one extra moment. If it's true that everything I accepted as true all the time isn't true all the time, then at least the concept of things possibly not being what they seem under all circumstances is true. And that's what we're playing with right here. We don't have to understand. We are just here to practice. Okay, so back to the practice. Yesterday was horrific, as we said. If you pictured horrors, you probably felt horrible. I hope so, for 1 minute. Because the reflection is beautiful, releasing that kind of meaning or coming into understanding it, which evaporates it into nothingness, which provides us some empty state as nothingness is. And if there was nothingness and a creator created something, then what we are and life is has sprung forth from nothingness, not from our hold on what we believe is. We don't need to trip up on what's next. I mean, if all of life has meaning, as we were just discussing yesterday, because that's what God creates, and that these fears and horrors, even if we're so sure they happened, and of course they happened, my grandmother passed. But why does that need to be horrific? Is there no lens of love through which to look at that? Is that not what she offered me? Am I really going to ignore that and demand that it be the worst thing that ever happened? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, let's pause. If yesterday was horrific and you felt horrible, and I hope you did, let's feel well. Let's remove the cognitive loop that I keep taking us through. And please close your eyes. Let's have a breath out. Everything out. Belly button going to the spine. We are empty, giving to the plants. Big breath in. Hold it. What a celebration of life to have so much oxygen. Our lungs are full. They are ready for the next cycle. Exhale, relaxing only. Eyes closed, breathing normally. I invite you simply, no matter how you feel, to try one exercise, which is round the corners of your lips up, at least into the smallest smile. Breathing normally through your nose. Do you feel really challenged? If you're upset, well, perhaps you have a practice to release it or see it differently, or you can take it out on me. But if, with your eyes closed, you accidentally might notice as you round the corners of your lips or even show your teeth that you could, have touched perfect peace, perfect safety, would you dare laugh right when you open your eyes? 1, 2, 3, open your eyes. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. Day 15. Each day should be devoted to miracles. The purpose of time is to enable you to learn how to use time constructively. It is thus a teaching device and a means to an end. Isn't that true? A means to an end. Time will cease when it is no longer useful in facilitating learning. Ooh, so we're here in time to learn, and it will end when its time is up. That time itself has an end. How can that be possible? Well, perhaps time is an idea, and we are swimming in an idea of time that is here for us to have some kind of learning. My beautiful grandmother, I feel both of my grandmothers, both beautiful, both having actually reached out to me recently. An idea I accept. Both of them somehow extending across time and space to find me and share with me love. Can we not just take that at face value, that at least love can cut through time and space? I'll share with you another secret, that my goal when I allowed myself to dream as radically as I can, I heard myself say, to become the wavelength of love. That's right. Kesten Rono is on the path to become the wavelength of love. That came with infinite questions. How can in physical form I become a wavelength? And what the heck is love really? Well, here we are, discovering a miracle, apparently. This book showed up, and you're here. Or at least I am. I would not have done this before I set that goal. I would have pretended I was fine as was. Time will cease when it is no longer useful in facilitating learning. My grandma said, it's all okay. Perhaps she's still learning. She was a librarian. She loves to learn. And here I am reading a book to you. Aho, grandmother. Each day should be devoted to miracles. Oh no, oh no. The deeper we get in this, the more responsibility we have, but the more opportunity we have. Before, miracles were just a natural process that were occurring all the time. And if we are to see them in anything and everything, well, then I guess if we're to become them, to become the wavelength of love, we must participate in it, all the time. And shoot, what is time? Playing with the past and the present and the future. The purpose of time is to enable you to learn how to use time constructively. So however we are using time, possibly we are not using it constructively, especially if we believe that we are caught in our own ego, competing, we think, with God, thinking we know best, being afraid of his voice directing us, like it would ever steer us wrong. When was the last time you asked someone to do something horrific in the name of love, in the true name of love? Is there such thing as never? Each day should be devoted to miracles. If you are willing, that is what we are doing. And for 1 year, we will try each day to devote ourselves with specificity. And what did we learn yesterday? Conviction. That word has conviction in itself. Miracles bear witness to truth because they arise from conviction. So each day should be devoted to miracles. Devoted. That's the whole day. But we'll take a little slice and we'll just go for these 1 to 2 times we started in the beginning, which is getting as large as 5 times now. We're increasing our practice, getting closer to devotion, daring to use our voice, seeing things with our eyes closed, eyes open, releasing meaning of everything around us and discovering God's meaning. We're not getting rid of anything. I suppose we are. And if we are our ego, we are being destroyed. But we are not suffering any destruction. The idea of suffering and destruction is somehow a concept, even amidst death. We do not need to understand. We do not need to hurt. Who hurts out of love? The only way we hurt out of love is diving in and feeling our pains, our upsets. The action we take is within ourselves. I can't fix your ego. Now we're bickering about some idea. Like I know best. That's me consciously controlling the flow of love and miracles. No, I dive in and I don't tell myself that I know better. I say, what's in here? And my ego says back, I know what's in here. I know best. Oh. And it says, you should be afraid because I'm making you safe. And then when I hear, you should be afraid, I hear fear talking, attempting to ask me to be its host. I've done that. I'm here to love. And get it wrong, possibly, because we're here to learn and practice. If I was perfect at it, I'd already be in perfect peace. And I'll tell you what, I like being here, physical, needing to eat, needing to breathe, needing to make waste, participating in this process of life and death everywhere. And I look forward to living as long and as well as I can and being an example to myself and hopefully in that way being an example to you. I can tell you I started out by, at least in my mind, but by your judgments too, getting it all wrong. It's not about having had it all right in order to be able to enter into a space where we can talk about miracles and believe that we can be love. I tell you again that you are worthy of love. You are powerful enough to look at yourself. You are abundant. You cannot run out of energy. You exist and you exist forever. That's what existence is. It exists. My grandma continues despite what we are worried about with death. That's ego saying, I can figure this out. I can beat it. It can never beat the cycle here. Time is a means to an end. And in that sense, you are complete. You're part of this process and all there is. So thank you for healing. And I encourage you to keep joining me or consider your own practice. But now that you've seen this black swan, will you turn away and demand that even death can only mean it was for suffering, even when it's extremely impossible to justify? You're allowed to feel that pain. I feel that pain for these things too, and for the people that I love who feel pained. And I admit I do not understand. But to live a life of fear on purpose after seeing it is to live in death for sure. And rather than saying what I don't want, I will tell you I want to become the wavelength of love. And so I will devote myself with conviction and specificity to try on a new lens, which is that of love, which I do not understand. And so every time I find myself in discomfort, I recognize its simple premise that I just do not understand. And I'm coming to learn. Today, I am not only learning to love, but loving to learn. And so we will devote ourselves daily, ultimately, devotion being all the time. Lesson 15. My thoughts are images that I have made. Your thoughts are images that you have made. It is because the thoughts you think appear as images that you do not recognize them as nothing. Okay, you have thoughts that you're thinking. You have thoughts that you think appear as images. You believe what you're thinking about exists. It is because the thoughts you think appear as images that you do not recognize them as nothing. Here we are learning that they are truly nothing, even though you are for sure you see them. You think you do. You think them, and so you think you see them, meaning that if we peel back to purification, already thinking that you think them is one step too far. This is how your seeing was made. This is the function you have given your body's eyes. It is not seeing, it is image making. It takes the place of seeing, replacing vision with illusions. Okay. Thinking you think your thoughts, thinking that you think they appear as images is image making, and it takes the place of seeing, replacing vision with illusions. We are coming into believing our own illusions like we were talking about in the past, because this is the process that we naturally adopt as seeing until we find true sight. This introductory idea, which is my thoughts are images that I have made. The introductory idea is your thoughts are images which you have made. This idea to the process of image making that you call seeing will not have much meaning for you. You will begin to understand it when you have seen little edges of light around the same familiar objects which you see now. That is the beginning of real vision. You can be certain that real vision will come quickly when this has occurred. Okay, will we see actual edges of light? Or is that in itself already a joke? That we think we are seeing images of light? I'm asking this question this way because it's not important right now. That's literally what this text is saying. This process of image making that you call seeing will not have much meaning for you. We don't need to understand. Remember, we're not here to understand. We're here to practice. So may it be uncomfortable. But when you see edges of light, you can be certain that real vision will come quickly when this has arrived. So, hang in there. The hardest part appears to be at the beginning, and it's becoming more effortless. And remember, we are here to experience miracles without effort in a natural subconscious flow. None are harder than others, and these exercises should take no effort. So we are on the way to perfect peace, perfect safety, no effort, and all of the parts of us that swear one more rep, get up earlier and grind harder, all of which are valuable, we believe. And it's hard for me to disagree. I'm victim to this too. I cannot understand. All of that effort is too much effort. As we go along, you may have many light episodes. They may take many different forms, some of them quite unexpected. Do not be afraid of them. I heard that the most repeated phrase in the Bible is essentially do not fear. I heard it's even there 365 times. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. Maybe you know. But isn't it interesting that everything we're doing is relaxing our upsets, our fears, our egoic hold? That fear and love are divergent, but they're somehow the same quest, that we move through our fear to not be afraid, and we end up in effortless love, the natural cycle of miracles. They are signs that you are opening your eyes at last. They will not persist because they merely symbolize true perception, and they are not related to knowledge. Beautiful. We're going to get little breadcrumbs, little symbols of true knowledge. Well, excuse me, true perception. which is different than knowledge, unrelated completely, or at least our breadcrumbs are. But they will prepare the way to it. Okay. These exercises will not reveal knowledge to you, but they will prepare the way to it. We are not here for knowledge, so it seems. We are here to take a step for the sake of the step along this path. In practicing the idea for today, repeat it first to yourself and then apply it to whatever you see around you, using its name and letting your eyes rest on it as you say, "This blank is an image that I have made." So we'll say it to ourselves and then apply it to whatever we see around us, using the name and letting our eyes rest on it. This blank is an image that I have made. That blank is an image that I have made. This, then that. It is not necessary to include a large number of specific subjects for the application of today's idea. It is necessary, however, to continue to look at each subject while you repeat the idea to yourself. The idea should be repeated quite slowly each time. My conviction from yesterday is causing me to speak faster. Perhaps I'm wary of time, as if it's going to run out. It's here until the learning is done. It is necessary to continue to look at each subject while you repeat the idea to yourself. The idea should be repeated quite slowly each time. Although you will obviously not be able to apply the idea to very many things during the minute or so of practice that is recommended, try to make the selection as random as possible. Less than a minute will do for the practice periods if you begin to feel uneasy. Again, permission to let this be as easy as possible, please. As minimal as possible. We're on our way to devotion. We're on our way to knowledge. We're looking for little edges of light to show us true perception. Do not have more than 3 application periods for today's idea unless you feel completely comfortable with it. And do not exceed 4. So maximum 4. And the indicator here being comfort again, where comfort would suggest that we're stumbling on this path to understanding. Everything is teaching us to be comfortable and not afraid. So if you can take a breath and find comfort, please try 4 sessions. However, the idea can be applied as needed throughout the day. The end. Okay. The practice for today is to practice. My thoughts are images that I have made. In practicing the idea for today, repeat it first to yourself and then apply it to whatever you see around you, using its name and letting your eyes rest on it as you say. This and that is an image that I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. I call it sight, but it is image making. I'm open to seeing differently, and I welcome symbols as edges of light around the items which I have claimed to see. That true perception means seeing light. And that where there is no light around the edges of the things that I see, I can be confident that I am simply image making. My thoughts are images that I have made. This dog whom I love and want to be here just as she is, I believe, but I'm willing to believe that this dog is an image that I have made. This face, which I have come to love and appreciate as it is, but I am open to true sight. This face is an image that I have made. That desk with no light around its edges is an image that I have made. Aha, I've fixed it. I've solved it. I've broken the code. This light, with light within it and around its edges, is an image that I have made. This book, even with all of its wisdoms, that I can feel in my hand now, that I would previously say, I am so sure is here now. This book is an image that I have made. That's it. Less than 1 minute or up to 4 times. Please allow yourself to look around slowly, maintaining eye contact with the item that you see with specificity, with ease, with conviction, with devotion, with love, without fear, without worry of understanding. Look at that item after reflecting on yourself and simply say, that item is an image that I have made. I am Kesten Rono, and I'm extremely grateful for your time and attention and in time, deep connection in the name of love. I'll see you here tomorrow for day 16 of our exploration of A Course in Miracles.